What's good, yo? So today I will be back testing the pair GBPAUD currency pairs, obviously on Forex. And basically what I'll be back testing is liquidity setups. And my main reason, obviously, because I trade supply and demand, and sometimes I miss good moves due to the fact that my supply or my demand setup has not hit, but it still went in the direction that I predicted it to go in, right? And just to kind of put in perspective really quick, if we look at this demand setup, and this is not an actual example, this is just actually what I'm back testing at the moment. But let's see, we have this demand right here, right? Price created this demand, and let's just say price does not come back into this demand. So it goes boom, oh, brush. So boom, create the demand. I would like it to come back into this area here in this box and rise up, right? Now, a lot of the times I can miss my setup due to the fact that it didn't come into my demand, right? So what does that bring me back to? That brings me back to back testing the accuracy, or how often does liquidity sweep and respect that sweep and go in the direction that I have the market going in, right? We're not gonna talk too much. We're just gonna kind of dive straight into it. And hope you guys enjoy and learn something. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment down below. And today we're gonna be playing Rod Wave vibes. All right. I'm not in my bag. Just Rod Wave's nice, you know? But yeah, let's get straight into it. All right. So usually I like to start off from the daily, and I already have it marked up at the moment. So let's go ahead and remove this really quick. So first thing I see looking at the daily is, okay, we're bullish, right? We're buying. Now what? Now we look for an AOI, right? Area of interest. So I can see we have the supply, daily supply here. And I personally would not take the supply only because it's so big. Usually a supply should look like this, right? The size of the candle, no matter if it's the daily, 1 hour, any time frame. But since we have this huge wick, this is just not good for me, right? Um, and with that being said, we have this high, which is just a lot of liquidity here, so much liquidity. So market probably target that liquidity and then sell off. But in the meantime, we want to catch some trades, either buying or selling, which me, I want to buy because I'm following the direction the market's going in, which is obviously buying. So now we kind of got our overall direction. Now we know we want to buy, right? That's the first thing I like to do is to see where the market's going as far as buying and selling. I see a market buying on the higher time frames. So if you trade the, let's say, 5 minute, 1 minute, where you scale up a time frame or two just to see the overall price. I trade the 1 hour, I'm entry day trader. So I'm checking the daily to see overall price and where the market's at. All right. So I want to buy. Let's get on the 4 hours, see if we see anything. Okay, so I seen on the remark because I started this back testing and then decided I wanted to record. So I can see we have some breakup structure here. So price broke through this high, double highs, good structure. Okay, still confirmation we want to buy. I don't really see nothing on the 4 hour that I'd like personally. I can just see that we're ranging at the moment. So we'll just scale down and see what we can see from there. I still want to buy, so we'll scale down. And if we bring the two back to where I was actually looking before I started this video, it was here. I marked up this demand. Just yes, I said I'm back testing liquidity as well, but I'm still I trade supply and demand. I'm still gonna back test the supply and demand. If it's there, it's there. You know, if it's not, it's not cool. I kind of want to make it realistic. So like when I'm actually trading the live market at current price, if I see a supply or a demand and it doesn't hit that supply and demand, but I also do see liquidity being formed somewhere and it can grab that liquidity, then boom, there we go. We'll just trade like that, right? Simple. All right, cool. I missed my demand. All right, well, let's try to catch a liquidity setup, right? So we're gonna let price play out really quick. So we're gonna go ahead and go forward. We're pretty close to the demand. I mean, we're not even more than 10 pips off. Let me see what my uh pip thingy is. My right here we go. So yeah, so we're like what 6, 7 pips away from touching this demand. Well, it didn't tap. Here we go. Let it play. So what I was looking at was so from the 1 hour to the daily, that's a pretty big stretch, right? 1 hour candle has 24 candles on the daily. You know what I mean? So that's a pretty big stretch. I said, yes, I want to buy overall. It doesn't mean we can't catch sells or vice versa. If we're looking to sell, doesn't mean we can't catch buys, right? We can still catch pretty good moves whether the market is in a bullish moment or bearish moment, right? So I marked up this high right here, which is going to be basically the highest point of this week. So that's going to be some good liquidity right there. If that gets swept, we could possibly look for some sells. All right, so we're going to go ahead and press play. Okay, boom. I can see we grab liquidity. Now, what makes it a good liquidity for me, I know some people trade liquidity different. I personally don't like to see price break above your quote unquote liquidity area. So here we had this high. If price broke above and closed above, I personally would not want to sell. I would like to see the highest point, which will be the wick and not the body. The wick get wicked out. So market wicked above the last wick, which is going to be a high in liquidity, right? This is where money's at. So it respected it, closed below. Now I want to catch some sells. So most of the time, what I would do is I would wait for like some type of confirmation to sell. But obviously, it instantly sold. I would not get in here because just I don't like the chances here, right? My stop loss is gonna be 31 pips, and we're still bullish. We still broke above this last high. I would not take this setup unless I scale down to the 30 and I can catch a supply setup. But even this scaling this low, so even if we're on a 30-minute, right, I don't see no supply being created. It's kind of like everything's like smushed together, right? Looks nasty. It's not something I want to trade. All right, cool. Let's go to the 15-minute. All right, looks like we can have a potential supply. Like I said, potentially here, this candle. So with these next few candles, if we break aggressively down, this could be our potential supply. That's box. All right, so if we could do that, no, we didn't. So you see how it kind of went down slowly, came back up, came into the supply, but it's not my type of supply setup. Excuse me. So honestly, I wouldn't have took this trade. It would have just been a miss for me personally. Um, it is what it is, you know. I mean, I like this liquidity grab. What I would like to see when this does happen is for price to reject, close, you know, build some structure up around the liquidity, right? Which it didn't. It kind of aggressively sold within this 1 hour and closed all the way down here. Now I could have called in the meantime, like while that was happening, while this candle closed, it did buy up. Boom, it brought up. I could have gotten there. Still not my, too frisky for me. I'm not gonna take that one personally. But let that one go. Looks like we have this demand coming towards our area of interest. So we're gonna let it play really quick, and there we go. Tapped out demand instantly, bro. We're gonna remove this just to get it out of the way. That kind of played out quick. I did not expect that, honestly. And just to tell you, I did not see any of these charts. So what I did was I just put the replay tool, and I just went all the way back and kind of closed my eyes and then just click confirm. So I don't really know what's going on, because if I see it while I'm going back, I'm gonna know. Well, I'm gonna buy, I'm gonna sell. You know what I mean? I didn't do that. So I bring it back here. And you know what I really love about this setup? This is honestly an A+ setup for me. We'll give it a C, a B. We'll give it a B+. I'm gonna tell you why it's a B+. So when the demand's being created, I like major breakup structure, right? So if we pull out this tool, we created this demand, right? Now while this demand was being created, I most of the time I wanted to break some type of structure. So like these highs right here, I would want price to break above that while this demand was created, so that would come back in. We buy. And the reason of that is because it kind of confirms that the market wants to buy. When it's break up structure, that's almost confirmation that the market's going in that direction, right? Because that's a structured area. It's supposed to be respected. If it gets disrespected, that means buyers are coming in or sellers are coming in. So I need that breakup structure 70 to 80% of the time. In this situation, this is a maybe. So it's not an A plus setup. I'll give it a C to B, period. Right? It'll look something like this. So boom, we broke this high, ranged a little bit, boom, 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 and then we came in and broke. Now, what makes it a B, right? What really makes this a B plus, as I said a couple seconds ago, is that after we ranged for this long, what did we do? What did the market do? It created liquidity, right? Why? Because we moved sideways for hours, right? And as we moved sideways, market was just creating liquidity at the top and bottom, right? At the high and low point of each bounce. So every time it came boop, boop, blah, bloop, blah, bloop, blah, bloop. And look, you need some water. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit the vape ski. All right. So what made it the B plus, right? Back to what we were saying. So when we create this downside liquidity, I need this in my setup almost every time. I need a liquidity sweep plus FVG plus demand, vice versa for the supply. We created these lows, this liquidity. We swept this liquidity perfectly, rejected, and instantly brought up. So the way I would have got in, most of the time I aggressively get in. So as soon as we tap my supply, our stop loss is going below. And we're gonna bring our TP up to the high point. That's gonna be our TP, our main TP, right? Obviously, if we want to extend our TP, what we're gonna do is look left, get some structured points. Boom, we'll take it to this next high. And just like so, our TP would have been slapped. Just like so. All right. So the reason I'm not gonna break down why this is my TP and stuff, because that's a whole nother topic. We're looking for setups about liquidity and supply and demand, right? So now we got that out the way. That was a beautiful setup. All right, we're gonna remove that, get that out the way. Now we're looking for a new setup. Mind you, still buying. So we're gonna go back to the 4 hours, see what's going on. Actually, we'll start back from the daily. Don't really see nothing on the daily that I like. Still buying besides that. So 4 hour, we have this demand. Some liquidity below this demand as well. I'm in your city tonight. All right. So with this demand creation, we did break structure, obviously. We broke this high point, this recent high point. And if we look left, we also broke some more baby structure here. And we got FPG, our imbalance, pick this up, fair value gap, everything we need. All right. So now here's what I'm gonna do. If we go back to the daily, right, we can see that we have liquidity here. So based off, well, I'll say depending on how this candle reacts of this high point, this little cut. Remember what I said earlier? I like to see a nice rejection of that liquidity sweep in order for me to be a liquidity sweep, in order for me to sell, vice versa for the buy. So if I want to sell, I need to see this line I just drew, which is going to be the liquidity. I need to see a rejection under, no close above. So we're going to go back to the 4 hour really quick and just press play, see how that plays. Okay, we rejected nicely. That's a good rejection. I mean, it closed above just by a couple pips, but that doesn't count for me. It has to be a major break. All right. So that's respected. You can sell there. Personally, I'm not, because market's too bullish for me. So we're gonna let it play. Now we have two different opportunities here. We have, in a second. We have our demand that we would like to buy off of, and this liquidity area down here on the sell side. Somebody's knocking. We'll get that. Somebody's gonna get that downstairs. Anyways, we have this demand and liquidity. Boom. So I would like the market to either buy off this demand or sweep this liquidity and we buy off this liquidity. And there's one thing that I don't like about this setup, and that's gonna be the higher time frame liquidity grab. And these all not all time highs because we're on GBPAUD, but these major highs. Because if we just draw this like this, we can see this area is respected highly, even if we bring it all the way to the left. Very respected area. We can see the big sells, big buys, big sells off this area. So that can cause a pretty nice drop down to the downside. That's my only reason that we can hit major sells or we could keep buying, right? So that all depends on how we approach this demand and the supply. So we're gonna remove some of this stuff just so we can see clearly. I'm gonna leave that there. We're gonna remove this. This is our we're gonna remove this as well. But it's our liquidity grab line right there. This is our demand for our demand, and this is our liquidity. So we'll see how this approaches and see how this goes. Yeah. Okay, we're in the demand. Honestly, that was beautiful. Wow, what a nice tap. So I'm gonna buy off this mainly because we had a bullish engulfing candlestick confirmation. It was lovely. So we're buying off this 4 hour demand. Boom, beautiful tap. Honestly, it was spot on. If we adjusted perfectly spot on. 1 hour, bullish engulfing close, entry, just like so. Our stop loss, so instead of bringing it down to below our demand in this particular situation, we're gonna bring it below the low of this tap, just because our entry was so high that, we can't bring it all the way down here. It's gonna be, oh, yes, yes, I'm doing something, Ma. Anyways, if we drag it back all the way down here, 115 pip stop loss is just, that's way too steep. So we're gonna bring it to here, our low point, right? That kind of threw it though. Anyways, we're gonna bring our TP to the high, and our entry was off this bullish engulfing confirmation entry. Let's just see how this plays out. All right. Just draw down. That's very close. Nice. Boom. TP is slapped just like that. And that's why TP is important, because look how fast it reacted down. Not good. All right. We still have our liquidity grab setup, which I still think is good. While that's approaching this liquidity down there, we're actually gonna catch some sells because we still swept this liquidity. We're still respected. So we're still gonna catch some sells. What we're gonna do is remove this drawing. If price breaks below this low, we're gonna have a valid supply setup here. Remember, I said I need breakup structure in order for a supply to be accurate. Boom. We break below these lows, and we have a good supply setup. All right, for sells, because I still want to sell in the meantime, just because that daily liquidity grab. And let's see. Oof, we didn't break. It tapped, respected, and now it broke. So this would have got me upset, just because I would have missed this move, obviously. But this is why we are back testing liquidity. So what I'm gonna do, I almost got thrown off track here. So we have some liquidity here, nice high. If we sweep this high, we'll get in for a sell. This also is confluenced with this fair value gap, which is honestly nice as well. So fair value gap plus liquidity grab. Let's get it. Liquidity grab tap. We're not gonna focus on this tap because that's not our AOI. That's not our area of interest anymore, due to the fact that we didn't break below before tapping. So liquidity, sell. Entry is gonna be basically off this rejection. This is actually a crazy rejection. We'll probably have to scale down on our entry here. There we go. Nice. That looks way better. There we go. Okay, liquidity grab, swept, respected. Our entry is gonna be this next candle. Our stop loss is gonna go above the last candle that swept the liquidity, just like so. And then we'll set our TP wherever, right? Whatever. And let's see how this goes. All right, clean. All right, that was clean. So we are approaching. Actually, are we? Where's our? Did I? Oh, I removed the drawings. Okay, we'll go back to the 4 hour. So we still have our liquidity down here that I want to be swept and buy off of. Make sure I'm recording. Okay, I'm recording. Had to make sure really quick. All right, let's go. Do this. So, on the floor, let's scale back down. I want to see this liquidity grab. I'm going to buy. If that fails, we have our second liquidity grab, and then we'll buy off of it. It's kind of going to be a counter trend because market's kind of selling off this high structure top, liquidity grab, etc. So this is a little riskier. Obviously, we shouldn't take risky setups, but if it respects nicely, it's a valid setup. Let's do it. See how this goes. Okay, we swept. Let's get a nice candlestick confirmation and we'll buy in. Okay, we did not get no bullish engulfing. We have a bearish engulfing, which tells you market wants to sell, right? A bearish engulfing, everybody should know this, is when the selling candle fully covers the last buying candle. That is a bearish engulfing, right? So this might actually, let's see where the 4 hour is at. Okay, 4 hours still open. So if this 4 hour actually did sweep this low, let's see this 4 hour close above this line, which is our liquidity grab, right? Money grab. Let's see the 4 hour close there. Stay on the 4 hour really quick. Get that next candle. Okay. Ah, dang it, so fast. Anyways, 4 hour close, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If we go back, we can see our candle closed above. Beautiful liquidity grab. We are buying. And the next candle, stop loss is going to go below. I wouldn't put it below the liquidity because it's so close to your entry. So what we're going to do is look back for the next liquidity candle, which is going to be there or here. This is too steep on the 4 hour, okay? So our stop loss is going below the next liquidity area. All right, just like so, our TP is gonna go wherever you want to bring it to. We're gonna bring it to this high point supply over here. I believe we'll touch that. Are we going down or are we going up? Lost in my feelings, trying to love. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Don't you just love the market? Look how beautiful. Like it scares you, right? It comes back to entry, you get scared, and then it's just wow, look at that. Set and forget. You gotta be able to trust your trades. All right, let's go. So 50% would have been secured right now of my trades. Oh, we're up on this trade. This is so beautiful. Wow. Honestly, I probably would have closed by now. It's taking too long for me. Yeah, I would have been out of that trade. Took too long. When a trade takes too long to get your TP, most of the time it's probably gonna try to set up a reverse or it will get to your TP. But we are not holding that long. We would have probably got out here somewhere. But W setup. W setup. Wow, beautiful. Beautiful setup. Let's go. W setup. We have a new setup. Easy spot. We still have that 4 hour supply, I mean, a 4 hour liquidity as well, which was below our stop loss. So our original liquidity grab was here, and we had this one. So that got disrespected. All right, let's get over here. I like this. We also have a nice fair value gap that is freshly non-tapped. So we'll see. We'll try to get a liquidity grab slash fair value gap tap here. I like to get to 50% of the fair value gap. Nights all alone. Okay, so liquidity grab. We'd like to get a tap, maybe a nice wick into this. Let's see. That's pretty steep. That's a long time. That's a long time. We'll probably catch another setup on the way down as well. See what we got for ourselves. I like the opportunities here. I don't trade fair value gaps much. Not my thing, but we have a nice fair value gap here. I wish there was a supply created within this. Let's see. Yeah, no supply. I mean, we have this 30-minute supply candle, way too big. If a supply candle is way too big like this, I personally don't take them. But we'll have it set up just because, right? But I like this fair value gap. I don't really trade these often. Yeah, we kind of way off on the supply and at fair value. If we get into it, that's cool. Okay, we got into it. Disrespect the 50%. I wouldn't have took this, blasted right through. Let's see if we can get into the supply here. Oof, look at that. Oh, I missed the setup. It's cool. We watching the supply. All right, supply was respected. Beautiful setup. I mean, like I said, I don't really like this big candle, but it was respected, so you gotta respect it. Approaching liquidity. This is what I was waiting for. Let's get that sweep. Beautiful. Look at wow. Entry. Perfect. Let's see. So stop loss is going below. Yeah, fair value gap. It's 20 pips. Beautiful. And then session TP wherever. We're not really worried about that. We're just trying to get a nice reaction. So we swept the liquidity, didn't close below it too much. Let's put it a 4 hour. That's where our liquidity is at. So 4 hour candle still open at the moment. Lies, sweet little lies, sweet little lies. This is beautiful. Oh, wow. The respect on it is just insane. And then look at the supply. We're selling now. I love GBPAUD. I'm telling you, if your trade currency pairs trade GBPAUD, supply and demand, liquidity grab, structure, everything is respected on this pair. It's consistent. It's lovely. It's trendy. It's beautiful. Trade it. You won't regret it. Like you'll catch a move off of every supply and demand setups and liquidity grab. You'll probably win 7 out of 10 times. You will win. I can tell you that from experience. I know. Oh. Yes, sir. So as you can see, the supply got disrespected. I mean, why take that supply? You always gotta check the reason why you're buying, right? And the reason we're buying is because this liquidity grab on the 4 hour, which is very strong. This is a pretty solid point. This fair value gap, this is strong. So it might actually buy longer than you think, which is why you sometimes you have to actually look and see why the market's buying when you're trying to sell and why is it selling when you're trying to buy. So when it's selling and coming towards your buy, why is it selling? Is it stronger than your potential buy? Right? Vice versa. So always understand that and always check that as well. Okay. So this wouldn't have been taken from me just because of that fact that it's buying off a strong, like this is a strong buying point. Not like no baby move I'm willing to catch. This is actually a potential swing move. So you got to be careful trying to catch them sell moves coming off of that buy, vice versa. So let's just see what it does from here. I'm gonna start moving all of this because yeah, why not, right? So as I said, the buying was strong. We have some liquidity here. Okay, liquidity was swept. Let's see if we can catch a sell. Obviously, it's selling now, but we want to try to sell it to these lows. And boom, 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 boom. I mean, I wouldn't have sold. I would have tried, but like I said, the reason it's buying is just way too strong for me to try to sell. I want to buy. I'm just gonna look for buys, right? Here we go. We have a new potential setup here, guys. So we broke structure. We're buying, obviously. It looks good. We broke this high point that it created. Also broke this high point, which kind of confirms that market's buying. All right, cool. This is gonna be the same setup as that 4 hour setup that's making this move up. Just a mini version, right? So we have some liquidity here. And we have our fair value gap. Beautiful. All right. Fair value gap. Let's get a respect off the fair value gap while it's swiping this liquidity, and we're gonna buy. No respect. So you see how it bursted right through? Invalid. We don't want to take that. We want to see rejection. We want to see respect at this area of interest. Market disrespects it. We no take it. Okay. Just like so. We still want to buy. So now we're just looking for a new area of interest. Let's try this again. I like these lows here. Beautiful liquidity. A lot of money sitting there. No fair value gap to confluence this liquidity. So we're just going to try to get a sweep here and buy up. Okay. We're approaching. We're approaching. And boom, look how beautiful the rejection is. Wow, look at that sweep. Lovely. Let's buy now. So we rejected, closed. Okay, we enter. Our stop loss is going below that sweep, that candle that swept the low, just like so. with a little space, and then we'll just bring our TP up. Once it's a 1-on-1, that's a winning trade. 1-on-1 is a winning trade. Obviously, I'm not going for 1-on-1, but if it's a 1-on-1, that's a winning trade. Let's see how this plays out. And I'm pretty sure that's a 1-on-1 right there. That's actually almost a 1-to-2. So beautiful. Let's let it keep playing. Just like that. Honestly, so far, liquidity setups is doing very good. We won most of the setups that we have just taken. I didn't count, but I will go back and count and check the accuracy, obviously. But so far, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Let me know what you guys are thinking right now, and if you guys think I'm saying something wrong or have any opinions, thoughts, whatever, drop them in the comments. Any questions, whatever. Super transparent. All right, let's go. That was beautiful. Wow, that was lovely. Let's see what we have going on now. Okay, we still want to buy. We're just gonna double check the higher time frame, see what's going on. Okay, this is why it's important to check the higher time frame. We have a supply here. We always want to see why it's selling and why it's buying. Check the higher time frames. We're selling right now because of this supply. Didn't break too much structure, but if we scale down, that supply did actually break structure. So this actually is a valid 4-hour supply. So that's why we're selling right now. And we could potentially sell back to this area down here. So we're gonna look for some sells at the moment. We have some nice liquidity here. See if we can sweep this liquidity, respect it, and catch some potential sells. All right, let's go. It's the only thing I see right now for sells that I would like to take. Boom. Okay, we rejected and respected. So what are we doing? We're gonna sell the next candle. Stop loss is gonna go. So what I like to do is, I like to put it above the wick that swept. But if this structure 5 pips away from that liquidity sweep, we are gonna just bring our stop loss to the structured point at that in this situation, right? And then obviously our TP is going to be for a 1-to-1 is a winning trade, but we're gonna bring it to this low. So far, I mean, we entered and we're in drawdown, almost actually at a stop loss. That's 30 pips. So let's just see what happens. Oof, look at that. Actually, that stop loss was inaccurate, which is my fault. I'm just kind of rushing through it, but our stop loss would be like that above the structure. I also like to give it an extra 2 points. So bring it up above just a little bit. And yeah. But you might think I'm lying. But no. Really, 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 I like to put my stop loss above by a few points just to give it some air, you know? You don't want your stop loss so tight. I know a lot of people try to get the tightest stop loss. That just causes loss, you know? Super unnecessary. But this is a winning trade. We obviously lost back testing it, but this would be a winning trade for me. That's gonna be almost a 2-to-1. We can bring it down here to these lows here. All right. Now we still want to sell, so let's look for some more selling setups. No liquidity here. I'm not counting this as liquidity. Not my thing. I like to see a nice fat wick and then the sell or the buy. That's my liquidity because market brought and sellers instantly drag price all the way down, creating that area. A lot of money right there, right? It is also almost 4:30 in the morning. So if my words are a little mixed up and I'm sounding crazy, that's why. All right. Anyways, let's do this. Okay, we are creating some liquidity here. Like it's a little nothing serious, but it's being created. I won't take this. I don't like it. But we did create liquidity here. This high. Nice lot of rejection. What that means, sellers are coming in, they're buying. I mean, this buyers are buying up, sellers are instantly bringing price back down, creating liquidity. I wouldn't take this. It's just not enough for me. As you can see, this probably, I mean, it would have been a winning trade, but too risky. The drawdown's heavy. Not something I would take. All right. This is something I would take. So if we could sweep this high for liquidity, that is actually what I would take. That looks good. Okay, we swept. Beautiful candle confirmation. We got a bearish engulf in here. I would have entered as soon as the price closed for the next candle. Stop loss of the high right there. Price is pretty close to it. This is the wrongs too as well. It's selling too. Okay, stop loss above the high by a few pips, just like so. And TP is gonna be 101. Well, that's gonna be a winner trade, but our TP is going down here. Let's see. All right, would have lost. That's actually, I think, our first losing setup on a liquidity grab. All right, let's see why. We'll scale back up. Okay, we had a yeah, liquidity sweep coming off the 4 hour. We're on this low right here. This is why you always gotta check your higher time frames to see what's really going on before you execute a trade. So this is stronger than way stronger than my 1 hour liquidity grab for the sell side. I mean buy side liquidity to sell, way stronger. So that makes sense why this was a losing trade. So we have our next potential setup is gonna be a liquidity low to see if we can buy off of it. But now I don't see anything I really like. So we're gonna just let the market play and do what they gotta do. Approaching this liquidity area. If we sweep it and respect it, could be potential buys. Yeah, kind of ranging, no sweep, and there is no sweep. Market has broke below and closed below. See the 4 hour closed below. Inaccurate for me. Now liquidity grab, this market selling. All right. We have some liquidity up here. Beautiful to follow the bearish market right now. This is actually beautiful. If we can get back up there, we do have the supply blocking that, so might just come into the supply instead and sell off of this supply. Let's see. Yeah, nothing. It's taking too long. It's creating too much structure. This is what the setup we had, the first setup in the beginning of the video. Same exact example, just sells. We created that supply, ranged for a little bit, created liquidity on the buy side, fake swept the low side, manipulating the market, and then buying to sell. That's exactly what it did. It's a good model. It's taking way too long though. So here's the manipulation. Still have our supply. Nope. All right. I'm not taking this anymore. Too long. If we scale back up, we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, no, we're not taking that anymore. All right. We're probably gonna call it there for the video. I'm getting tired and thirsty. I did not prepare myself with any water. So we'll call that the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you on the next one. It lets me end the video. Let me end the video.